Hi, everybody. Welcome to Saturday night and the community boards. Grab a seat and get ready for our hour show tonight. Maybe it'll be a little shorter. We'll see how that goes. But get something to drink and get ready to watch the community boards Saturday night edition. Hello. I'm going to get rid of all of my extra stuff on this PC, so hang on. Okay, there we go. We'll see how that goes. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Teresa. You finally found how to connect on YouTube, Denise. Yes. All right. So we're going to talk about Marietta a little bit. I have posted the link. And here is the link if you want to come on with me. This is your show tonight. So if you want to come on, if you want to talk about anything at all, you can. If you want to show us a flea market find, a state find, if you have something you want ID'd, just let me know. There is the link. Good evening, Jason. So hang on just a second. I want to make sure. How do I do this now? Hang on. I'm going to make sure that nobody has PM'd me before I turn everything off. If you want to come in, you can PM me, you can email me, but the best way to do it is to just click the link that I've just provided for you. But I want to make sure. Here we go. Let's see. So it's talk about anything that you want to talk about tonight. Okay. Good evening, Jason. Okay. Hi, Shirley. Hi, Kim. So here is the link again. If you want to come in, you can see it. I've posted it, and there it is. Or you can post it directly from comments if you want to come in and show us something. We're going to just have our regular discussion tonight. We're going to focus on Marietta. So today was pretty cool. I got up and looked at my messages, and I got a message from George. Now, George, the Antique Nomad, was going to be coming down on Monday and leaving Thursday. And he had a change of plans, and he will be with us from the start of the show. So he will be with us Sunday, right straight through to the end of the week. So very happy about that. So we will start broadcasting with George, and you'll be able to see what's going on with that right away. Very excited. We're going to be setting up our Mississippi conference room. We're going to be setting up the rooms for our visitors. So far, if the boat trip, we still have some space. It looks like we have 35 on the boat right now. Most of you are having lunch. Still, if you want to come, let me know. It's not too late. And if you're local out there, let us know. I am going to be talking to George later. We'll see if he has any more people coming that I don't know of, but we've got a full house right now. I'm going to look at the schedule for you a little bit so that you can see exactly what we're talking about for the events. So just let me know if you have any questions at all. And we'll go through this really quickly, and then we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you have a question, anything at all, you can ask me. You can come on with me live tonight if you want. Feel free. This is your show. I'm going to go over Marietta just because it's getting so close. Just think in 2 weeks, Marietta will be over for 2022, but we're excited. We are going to be leaving next Sunday, a week from Sunday. Check-in is around 3:00 at the Lafayette. You can, I think, there's just no way to get there any earlier. So it's 3:00. And if we are there at 3:00, you'll be able to get into the Mississippi room if you are setting up. But it's 4:00. If you want to come and help us set up, if you want early bird sales, you can come at 4:00. Be advised that there's a lot of commotion when we first get there. A lot of thinking how we're going to set up, how we're going to do this, unpacking. It's fun, but there's a lot of commotion. So if you want to come to the early bird sales, if you want to grab a chair around the table and start unpacking stuff, we might put you to work. So we're going to do that on Sunday. Then we're going to have pizza from Chicago East. We're going to have that up on the roof on Sunday night. And then artist Trudy Mendenhall will be in house at 7, and then a community sale. And George will be with us the whole time on Monday or Sunday. Then Monday, we are going to have a live at the Lafayette 10 at 10. And then we're at 11:30, we're going on the cruise. Again, if you want to come on the cruise, it's only $12. We're going to bring it to you at home via live production. We're going to have it right for you. But if you're in town, if you want to go, it's only $12 for the cruise. Just let me know. And then we'll come home from there and probably go to the Basilica. That's not on the itinerary, but I really want to go to the Basilica. And if you want to spend the rest of that afternoon until supper exploring the antique stores in town, that would be awesome. We're going to go have dinner on Monday night, probably right in the hotel. And then we're going to have a community sale, and George will be with us selling with artist Linda Fleming. So we're excited about that. After Linda's sale, we'll have a community sale. It'll be a late night. Tuesday, we are having an early edition 10 at 10. Feel free to ask any questions if you want. The early edition, because Henderson Hall is opening its doors to us at 11 o'clock. I have to talk to George about this. They really are excited to see him. And I think he's going to do a walkthrough of the hall and show you some of the historic artifacts that they have at Henderson Hall. And who else is at Henderson Hall? Dave Fetty. So we'll be talking to Dave, and we'll be seeing glass blowing demonstrations. They are opening their doors early for us. So excited for that. At night, we are going to the Mexican restaurant Tampico's. So if you would like to go to Tampico's, just let me know. Oh, and I forgot the appraisal fair at 2:00 on Tuesday. So bring something to appraise, and George will be there all afternoon at the appraisal fair. And of course, at night, George is going to have his sale. I'll be selling with him. That is George's night, and then the community sale at 10 o'clock. Okay, Wednesday, again, 10 at 10. We're going to spend the day exploring Marietta. We're going to have dinner with Dave Fetty at Spagna's, which is the best Italian restaurant ever. And then Wednesday night is always a let's grab a deal. Let's sell this stuff here. And we sell furiously on Wednesday night. So it's going to be awesome. You're going to be able to see us all at home, and we're very excited that we're going to be able to bring that to you. Do we have any questions at all about Marietta? Teresa's been to Tampico's. Yeah, it is very good. It's my favorite restaurant in town. I have been doing this long enough that I can direct you to the good places to eat, the good places to see. So you might not always be hanging with us if you want to go out and explore on your own during the day, but I'll try to steer you to some of the very cool things to see in Marietta. Oh, my battery. I got to plug in. It sounds like so much fun. Well, we're going to bring it right to you. So you're not going to miss too much, Andrew. Of course, we wish we could meet you too. Okay. All right. So do we have any questions? Does anybody want to talk about anything? Here is the link if you want to come on. Teresa, where are you from? Where are you from? You must be close to the area. Well, you know, I feel like when we go to Marietta, it's more of a customer appreciation because you guys are so good to me all year long. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and do this and sell for as many of our members as we can possibly sell for. It's a long day for me, but it's fun. I can't even tell you how fun it is. Are the attendees able to sell items? Yes. Are you local, Teresa? And what kind of items did you want to sell? If you want a table, I'm not charging for anything. Nothing. And I put the whole sale on. So I do have help during the convention with my niece will be there, Jill. And we actually have Eileen Thomas, who is a vintage vixen. She will be there with Teresa, who you're going to get to meet. And George will be there. So we'll have help during the time that we are there. And Teresa, did you want to bring some Fenton to sell or some collectibles to sell? We do have some local people setting up. And okay, let's see what Teresa said. I live in Mechanicsburg, PA. I work in Marietta running oil and gas title. I really want to come. Teresa, yes, please do. Please do. If you have a couple items that you want to sell, and it's just a couple, what we normally do, now we may have outgrown this, I don't know. In the evening, when we have time before prime time, like at 7 o'clock, and then again at 10 o'clock, we will sell items, up to 3 items, and then you have to have another person in line. And then if we get through the line, you get to sell another 3 items. So that's how it usually goes. But if you bring items like that, you're going to have to be responsible for shipping and invoicing. Rhonda said, you said George was saying something about start to collect rose-colored glass. Was that vintage glass? George said in one of his blogs that things run in cycles, and the Cordy porcelain items that were in the pastels, I'm looking to see if I have one here, are going to be coming back into style, that everything runs in a cycle. And they were popular in the 90s, and now they're going to start coming back again, and to start buying that stuff now because he sees that trending. I really appreciate you bringing convention to us at home. Yes. And Teresa says she has a few Fenton and other glass items. Bring them, Teresa. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to attend any of the events. And we are opening it up to everybody in Marietta. The manager at Spagna's has talked to me today about coming. And of course, we have the 3 antique stores in town. Smith and Company, which is a new antique mall. Marietta Antique Mall, which is huge and it's awesome. It's my secret mall that I don't even let out that I go there. But she is coming. The owner of the Marietta Antique Mall is coming, and so is Jennifer Sturgill of Green Acres. So they're going to come on Tuesday and bring some appraisal items, and you'll get to meet them. And a lot of their community, a lot of their vendors and stuff, I'm hoping will show up. Timmy says, I wish I could join you in person, but I will try to join as much as you can at home. Yes. We're going to, especially this year, try to spend a lot of time doing a lot of filming. And you're going to want to watch George too, because George will have, he's got his channel too. And I'm sure he's going to want to do lives and stuff on his channel. So we're going to kind of do different things, so you get to see a little bit of everything. Is the sale room open to the public or advertised? What we're doing, and this is our new venue here, we outgrew our mansion last year. We have a hall in the first floor of the Lafayette Hotel, and that is the Mississippi room. That's going to be where any local people might set up, or our core crew, which is going to be George will have a booth there. I will have a booth there. John and I will have a booth there. Both artists will have a booth there. The Vixens will have a booth in there, Jill and Eileen. And I think there's a couple of people from Michigan that'll have a booth. So, if we have overflow from local people, I do not want you not to have a place to set up. We can expand the room if we want to. There'll be people that have stuff in their rooms to sell, in their sleeping quarters, in their hotel rooms too. So if you want to come see the displays, we're hoping to have them manned. At least the Mississippi room, we're hoping to have them manned in the afternoon through the evening, just about every day. But if we're not there, it'll be closed, and we'll do our darndest to get back as quick as we can. Every evening when we sell, they'll be open, and they'll be open late. I mean, we sell till 10, 11, sometimes 12 at night. So you can come in the evening if you want. What is the name of George's channel? It's George the Antique Nomad. I'm going, hang on here a second. I don't know if I can get a hold of him tonight. I'm going to see if I can here. What are the chances that he's not doing anything tonight? I'm going to send him a link and see if he wants to come on. He probably isn't around, but let me see here. Tonight. Okay. I sent him a message. We'll see. He probably won't. Let me get back to you here. Will you have a list of people that are selling in their rooms? You know what? I probably should, Rhonda. I haven't thought about that. I'm one of these people that I don't do this very often. So I handle problems as they come up and things like that. Yes, we will probably have a list of room numbers that have items selling in them. Matter of fact, I'm going to write that down. And if somebody is there that comes and helps us, help me remember that, to keep a list of everybody that is going to have their rooms open. And we'll do that right when we come in on Sunday. All right. Anything else? If you are coming, we go out to eat every night. We're going to have pizza on Sunday, and you need to let us know right around, 3 or 4 o'clock. Text John or PM John, or you're going to have better luck PM and John if you're going to come for pizza, so that we can get the right amount of pizzas. It's going to take them a while to do that. We're going to go up on the roof for that. If you want to go to Tampico's or Spagna's, if you could kind of give us an idea so we have a little bit of a clue as to how many, because you have no idea how hard it is to predict how many people are coming. And so if you are coming for dinner, let us know. There also is Monday. I don't know what we're doing for dinner on Monday night, because there is a good restaurant in the Lafayette. I think it's called the Gun Room. They're supposed to have excellent food. So I think Monday we'll try that. There is also a Starbucks. Now, I have a question for you. And what do you think? I think that we're going to have Jeremiah's Coffee bring us coffee every morning. There is a Starbucks, but I think that's kind of pricey. So I have to remember to do that too, which I'm going to write myself a note about that. It's always nice to have a coffee pot there all day. Okay. Does anybody want to come in tonight? Here is the link. If you want to come in, you can come in. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. I have some interesting things, and we're going to kind of discuss what we did last week a little bit and move on to another topic, which is I'm still going over the history of Fenton and the time that they actually closed their doors for good. And it's kind of interesting to me. And I've got a few other quotes to share with you. Okay. Anytime at all you have a question, please just ask me. It can be about anything at all. Okay. This is your community boards. So last week, we actually talked about the firing process of glass. And we have gotten a lot of response from that. And it's exactly the kind of response that we wanted to get. I have been noticing comments all over about you asking people, are your items fired? Okay. And that is so wonderful for you to do, because you don't want to get an item that is baked in an oven. Okay. Paint will not stay on that's baked in an oven. And this popularity of Fenton has exploded overnight. You don't want to pay big bucks for an item that is baked in the oven, where you should be baking cookies and casseroles. It's not for glass, and it won't stay on there. And so if you're going to pay the big bucks for an item, please ask the artist, is this kiln fired? There are artists out there saying that they are firing their items and they're considering cold fire in their oven firing. So be specific and say, is it kiln fired? Otherwise, you get pieces like this where all the paint comes off. We showed this last week. All the paint comes off, and you're stuck here with something that you've paid. What's the price on this one? You've paid $95 for it, and the paint won't stay on it. And you can tell because, like I said, we did this one with this mouse last week. You can flick this paint right off. And I'm doing it again. And these are oven fired. They are not kiln fired items. And you can't have that. You want to keep the same quality that Fenton had. And firing sometimes is done 1, 2, or 3 times on things. And you want your stuff to last. You want them to go through the test of time. And look at that little mouse. I just took all the paint off his ears, all the paint off, all the little Easter eggs off his ears. And you just don't want that. And another thing, this says it's a one of a kind. We don't know who that artist is. So to pay up for something like that, don't waste your money. Just don't waste your money. Make sure you say, is this kiln fired? Does it reach 1,050? Otherwise, you're going to have trouble. And the way you can tell if something is isn't kiln fired, the paint actually looks chalky. It actually is not part of the glass. When the glass is in a kiln, it actually fuses so that the paint and the glass become one. And so you're going to see kind of a chalkiness of the paint. You're also going to see that paint floating on top of the glass instead of being a part of the glass. Make sure you ask. It's very important on anything right now. And if you see something that is completely painted, that you cannot see the glass underneath, then you need to think, what are we looking at here? Is this a reproduction base? Why are they covering every bit of it? You just need to be aware. Pieces are too expensive now to get burnt on things that aren't Fenton. And we need to be smart. I'm learning. I hope that you're learning too. And I see you asking questions all the time now on the boards. And that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Okay. Next up, let's see what else we have to talk about tonight. I got to get this up here. Hang on a minute. Had something that was pretty interesting. I'm going to read it to you, but I'm going to see if there's somehow I can. So I'm going back and I'm reading all these Fenton flyers and stuff from when Fenton actually went out of business. And it's interesting to me how they were handling situations back then and how they handle situations now. Wow, thanks for explaining that. Yeah. Oven is for cookies and casseroles, not for glass, not for Fenton glass, not if you want the quality of Fenton glass, okay? And you want Fenton glass. That's what you want. You don't want anything else. Okay. Yep. Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Some people are afraid to ask. For example, this was my fault. I painted my bathroom one time. And it was beautiful. Oh my gosh, stencils. I had the whole bathroom painted. It looked so gorgeous. I was so proud of it. It was beautiful. Well, I didn't prime it right for a bathroom. I didn't put the first layer on as a primer. And wouldn't you know, 3 years go by, everything starts flaking off. My beautiful job looked terrible. And that's what happens. Things can look good on the outside, but they definitely aren't the same. And if you have an artist that hasn't worked for Fenton, they use paints that are, for instance, Hobby Lobby paint, which is what most of them are using, $2.49 a bottle. We are paying by the gram for the paints that Fenton used. They are $100 a gram. Okay. There's no comparison. All right. So let's take a look. I had some things I wanted to talk to you about. Now I'm going to read this to you. This is from 2012. This is put out by one of the groups. And this is very interesting because we've been talking about reproductions and how it's hard to tell, and you really need to know the colors. It says the future of Fenton, and this is in 2012. As many of you have heard, Fenton is having a late May auction to include molds, trademarks, tools, formulas, and a host of other items, which are too numerous to mention. The board has explored the possibility of purchasing some molds either independently or in conjunction with the NFS. The lot, however, are so large. The lot size ranges from 459 to 2,000 molds per lot. It's not economically feasible to even attempt to bid. The issues of moving, repairs, storage, maintaining the molds, there are also the costs that there's so many costs it just doesn't make sense. My reasoning for bringing this up is twofold. The board continues to try and think long-term outside the box. Secondly, as items are attempting to be sold in large quantities and even in its entirety, the successful bidder may begin producing these in the future. At this point in time, everything is still up in the air. There may also be an opportunity to look at smaller number of molds. It's just too early to tell. So when we're talking about this, this statement is something that they should have been aware of and they should have been scared of. Fenton was closing. They did not have the money. The gift shop didn't have the money. Neither of the groups had the money because things it was poor economy. I mean, it was a bad time for Fenton. They didn't have the storage place. Can you imagine these lots of molds going up in auction, and one lot would contain 459 to 2,000 molds? That is absolutely an astronomical number. And just the mere size and weight of them, nobody could handle buying that many. So as they were concerned, rightly so, somebody was going to purchase these molds and then reproduce them. If that's what they were concerned with, then they're not so much concerned with that now. I don't understand why they are not. But at this time, 2012, they were scared to death that these molds were going to get in the wrong person's hands. They wanted them destroyed, actually, rather than be out there in the free market. So I'm going to go back and see if we have any questions about that. So, yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Here you have these groups representing these large collectors with all this Fenton glass and all these molds they are afraid of are going to get in the wrong hands. This is in 2012. So this was 10 years ago. But anyway, we'll go on with the story unless there's any questions. I can't imagine. I showed you the mold room before. I'm going to show you again. This is just one room. I'll put it up behind me. And you can see just the storage space. Just the storage space. Why weren't the molds destroyed if that's what they wanted? Well, they had to get rid of them. I'm sure a lot of them were sold for scrap. They went really cheap, but nobody could handle them. Look at all of them, and they're extremely heavy. And so they're just out there. And that's why it's so important to know the colors, because now we have something going on in the community that is not being addressed. And it's just crazy. I'll continue to read on this here in a second here. I got to switch screens when I do that. But yeah, you can see the molds. Just look on one shelf there. So when they came in to auction this, it was a business closing auction. They would sell probably one shelf of these at a time, two shelves of these at a time. If they didn't have enough bids, they would lot them up even farther just to get them out. It's a shame, but at the time they just, they just didn't bring anything. So they were scattered all over the place. Anyway, let me go ahead. That was from, I think, the Fenton Flyer, and I have another little piece to read. Okay, so this is continuing on with the conversation because they can't figure out how to deal with this. They don't even know if they're going to be in business anymore, the clubs. So it goes on to say, with all this in mind, sooner or later, we will run out of glass to help fund operations. So the gift shop was in dire straits. They weren't going to make it. The board could not get sufficient quantities of glass for workers, gifts, or individual convention favors. So in 2012, they didn't even have anything to give out to people that would come to the conventions as prizes or souvenirs. They had nothing. So the board is attempting to offer a happy cat or happy kitty at a convention produced using our molds, but manufactured by Mosser. This is the first reproduction that came out there. And this is an attempt, a last-ditch attempt for the groups to keep Fenton alive. So they had gotten their hands on the Happy Cat mold, and they were going to ask Mosser to manufacture this 10 years ago. It says, we have asked for a red, yellow slag, possibly other combinations similar to what Mosser produced in the Rocking Horse mold. So basically, this is club glass. So they went into this setting, having Mosser produce this mold and produce this glass just for their club, so that they would have favors and things to, sell at the convention, because they were running out of glass. I'm mentioning it here so everyone knows up front what the product is. It is ready for convention. It will probably be, if ready for convention, it will properly be identified and produced by Mosser. As I mentioned earlier, we are hoping to follow the same success that Fenton had in the sales of Mosser glass. Okay, so what they are saying and admitting 10 years ago is that Fenton had success. It's done. Now we're going to see what Mosser can do. They closed the chapter on Fenton. That's not the way it is today. And that's not the thinking today. That Happy Cat, which was a Tiffin mold, it was called the Grotesque Cat with the Tiffin mold that Fenton acquired, got in the hands of the groups, and they produced the first Happy Cat that was not Fenton glass, Mosser glass, and it was the first reproduction out there. So that's always interesting to me. So let me see if we have any questions. No more questions. Do we have any questions on that? So, they did it, understandably, they did it as a survival tactic because Fenton was closing their doors, and they wanted to continue to keep Fenton alive. So that's what happened with that. It's interesting to me now, as we look back 10 years, that so much of this glass is being produced at Mosser Glass, and Mosser is a tiny glass factory in Cambridge, Ohio. Just to be in perspective, okay? Right now, they are so busy. If you have a Fenton mold and you want to have it reproduced, it is taking up to 2 years for that process to come about, because they are so backlogged right now and people that want to make reproductions. So if you put it in perspective, Mosser has 30 employees handling all of this. Fenton, the average employee number at Fenton was 400. In its heyday, it had over 700. And when it was closing, the very bare minimum, it had about 150. So that's interesting to me, because now as things shift and people are putting more responsibility on Mosser to keep the quality up, Mosser can't. They are 15% of the size of Fenton in employees as when Fenton was going out of business. They are 7.5% the size of the employees when Fenton was just doing normal business. When QVC came on, they were 4% of the employee size of Fenton. So there's no way that the quality or the recipe for the glass can be the quality that Fenton was. It's just not. And that's where you start getting into problems when you're buying items that are not made of Fenton glass. It's Mosser glass, made from a company with 30 employees. They've been around forever, but they cannot handle the demand. So this is where the issue is. This is where you're going to see things happen in the next 5 years, where you're going to think you bought a Fenton piece and you didn't. Hello, LaDonna. How are you? Do they stamp their products Mosser? Recently I've seen them start to do that. Now, a lot of these molds that you see behind me that are out there have the Fenton logo on it. There's something going on in the Fenton world with liability now concerning that logo. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm seeing Mosser is putting Mosser glass on some of their items. However, and this is the however, they're using, a lot of times they're using a sticker that can easily be taken off. And then again, you can be fooled. So it's something you just don't want. If you're looking for a reproduction, that's fine. If you're looking for the quality of Fenton, Fenton is gone. And I have done business with Mosser as a wholesale market for years. I'm not anymore, because as they've gotten busier, I've had more issues with them, and we're just. What scares you if Mosser uses the Fenton logo? They have used the Fenton logo. It's not Mosser's. I like Mosser. I don't know who would be responsible for that. I mean, they're doing a job. Somebody is coming in. Say somebody from Parkersburg has a mold, and they bring it in, and they want them to do a job for them. They're basically contracting themselves out to do a job and to run some of these through. And so, I don't, this is just happening so fast. It's almost like exploding, and nobody is taking care of what they need to take care of, so that we know what is real and what isn't. Someone said that Fenton going into business with QVC was their downfall. Okay. Indeed. And this is what I've heard. And like I said, you hear these stories when you hang out down in Marietta and Williamstown. And this is what I've heard happen with QVC, is that Fenton went into QVC and it was awesome. It was gangbusters. They were selling so much Fenton. But what happened was they entered into a contract with QVC that they had to handle all the returns. So if somebody bought something and they changed their mind and they sent it back, it came back to the Fenton factory, they could not resell it. The only way they could resell that piece was if they sanded it down and had it repainted. So that caused huge stockpiles of returns from QVC that were almost like dead glass. It wasn't worth the money to have them repainted and sanded. So it caused crazy amount of problems. And then, of course, the market just changed and sales fell off drastically. And those two were the combination that finally did them in. Is Mosser glass lighter than Fenton glass? Mosser glass is done in several colors that are just real distinctive to Mosser. They have a jade green that they use quite a bit, an eggplant. They don't have the quality of colors that Fenton had, but they do have some clear colors. You just want to look and see if the glass feels greasy. You want to look and see if there's bubbles or cracks, because a lot of times there are, and they're so small they're hard to see. I know you can pick up Fenton and feel the quality. You can. To me, Mosser feels more bulky. Like I said, Mosser is good glass. They've gone years and years making cake plates and things like that. They're just being bombarded with all this business at once. And it's not something I think they were set up to do, or they were prepared to do. They should have used the QVC glass at the conventions. They couldn't even do that. If it was returned, they had to sand everything off and repaint it. Yeah, I like Mosser glass too. We sold a lot of the topaz. I have a couple Mosser glass lamps, but they're not the quality of paint job or anything that Fenton is. I mean, Fenton had people coming from all over the world to come in and, kind of tutor people or get them started off. Dave was telling me about, and I can't think of his name now. I have one of his vases. He was a artist that came in for 1 week to help Frank Workman develop a new style. And I don't know where he came from, but John would probably be able to tell you. And he came in for a week to teach him how to do some different stuff. The chemists were very well versed in what they did. Look at the plum color. Oh my gosh, the plum color is so rich and deep. Now, if you have something that's being reproduced in Missouri, that is plum opal. If you put it up to the light, you'll see orange in it. And the opal, you won't see the opal as strong as in the Fenton glass, and you'll see more glass than you'll see opal. And as we go ahead with this through the fall, we'll have pieces that will help you identify it. I'm actually thinking, and I don't know why this hasn't been done, because there are lists of color codes for Fenton, but I have yet to find something that matches the color code with the actual animal. So if this was ebony black, show us what ebony black looks like. If there's green apple green, show us what that looks like. If there's Kelly green, show us what that looks like. And I am actually thinking about combining and making some kind of a listing that shows that, so that you will be able to look at the colors when you buy something and decide then if you think it's Moster glass or you think it's Fenton glass. Yeah, I like Moster glass too. We've done business for them for many years. It's just, I like the jade kitchenware and stuff. And we have sold it. Our artists have painted the Moster glass. When we first started the co-op, we painted Moster glass, but we ended up sending more pieces back that were flawed than we actually painted. And we really had to be careful. And a lot of times the pieces, Fenton would have called them. They would have called the pieces out, quite truthfully. They would have called them out to make them seconds. They're just not the quality. However, we would pick out the pieces that were acceptable, but we weren't going to charge $150, $200 for our items, because we're starting with a Moster blank. And a Moster blank like this, maybe $15. So you don't want to overpay for these things. They're beautiful, but just don't overpay, because then you get 5 years down the line, or you hand it off to your granddaughter or your daughter, and they find out that it's not Fenton glass. And I don't know. Another way to look at this, which I've pondered on, and this is why it scares me. And this has happened to a lot of other things. I've been in this business for 40 years, and I'm a real auctioneer. A lot of times the reproductions will come on the market, and they'll be so close to the real thing that eventually the quality will decline on the reproductions, and people will not know how to tell the difference. And so they steer away from buying it. And then everything goes downhill from there. So it is concerning. I wish the groups would address this. And I keep stressing this. They have fees. They collect fees. They're not addressing the reproductions. And I really don't know why, because you can see back as we talk about this, they were addressing it 10 years ago. It would be amazing if somehow the associations could get Moster to imprint, not a sticker, any kind of Fenton reproduction, so it could protect the true Fenton pieces. I think they're starting to work on that at Moster. I think Moster's getting a little leery of what's going on. And I think Moster is taking some steps to make sure that there is no problem identifying their products. That's what happened with Roosevelt pottery. Indeed, LaDonna, she makes an excellent point. If you're at an auction and you see a piece of Roosevelt pottery that you're not sure if it's a reproduction, even if it's the real thing, you're going to leave it there because you don't know. And so you don't want to take that chance. And that's what I'm worried about happening. So I'm on a mission to educate. And that's why I got involved with YouTube. And I'm going to do my best. Now, I always tell you that, I tell you what I hear. I tell you what I see. And I'm reading these things right from literature here. Now, I'm going to go read you one more thing, and then we'll be all set for tonight, I guess. Again, if you want to come in and you want to join the discussion, I'm welcoming anybody to come in. If you want to talk about Marietta, that's okay too. Yes. Agreed. There's something going on right now. And I hope they do too. I know, you go to an auction and you hear Missouri Fenton, and there's no such thing as Missouri Fenton art glass. There's no such thing. And so now they're putting crowns on those pieces. Those are reproduction pieces. Moster has a label. I'm thinking they're working on a stamp, and I'm hoping they are. And I'm hoping that they're making that like a step you have to go through. If you have a mold that you want Monster to make, you have to put Monster's stamp on it. Let's hope that's what happens. Hello, Harry Humstone. So I want to look at one more thing from the same flyer. This was put out by the Fenton Flyer in 2012. And now let me see if I can share this with you. How am I going to do this? Give me just a second here. I'm not the most techiest person in the world. I just really am not. Okay, it's not there. Give me just a second because I want you to see this. I should have had this up. I apologize. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Here we go. Okay, I can share this with you. Oh, wow, you're talking about Fenton Art Glass. Bang, bang. Yes, just found your live and I subscribed. Now I'm here to listen and possibly learn. Awesome. We're just talking about, today we're talking about Fenton when they first went out of business and how they struggled to survive the gift shop and the groups and everything. They were actually thinking about the groups actually dissolving because they just didn't have any reason to be groups anymore. Fenton was closed. Okay, let me see if I can share this screen because this is interesting. Because 10 years ago, they were really aware of reproductions and they did not think they had any value. And so I'm going to share this screen and we're going to read this. Okay. So this might go right over me, and it probably does. Can you see that okay? I'm going to read this for you. Let me see if it's up here. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to be on another screen, but I know you're there. Okay. This is about, they called them reproductions. They called them for what they were. This is a wheat vase from 2012. And you see the Cobalt Fenton vase on the right, and you see they called them wannabes, Fenton reproductions on the left. Now that is actually a Czechoslovakian vase, and it possibly could be older than the Fenton vase. But you see, Miriam Boyle has written here that it isn't. It is. Do you think indignity, of course, that it is Fenton and it is not a wannabe? Well, it is a Fenton wannabe. And she says a final word on the vase, that is the Czechoslovakian vase. It is Czech. If you collect this type of glass, then go for it. The Czechoslovakian vase sold for $49 or $39 on eBay. So if someone thought it was Fenton, they did not waste too much money. So she is saying the Czech vase is a waste of money, a Fenton wannabe, a Fenton reproduction. I have to say Fenton Vasas is far superior than anything that the Czechoslovakians produced. So there you go. And I do not see the difference why now they're not treating it as reproductions, or as they called it 10 years ago, Fenton wannabes. That's what they are. Okay, let me get rid of this screen sharing. Okay. Yes. You want to look for the old Fenton pieces. I would have to say I just started collecting and love the white hobnail. Oh, yes, the white hobnail. Nobody has produced the melt glass that I know of. And that is wonderful because it's actually coming back into style because of the contemporary look today with the blacks and the grays and the whites. And I'm finding I'm selling a lot of melt glass. So yeah, melt glass isn't being reproduced. The plum opal is attempting to be reproduced and they're calling it the same name, which is disconcerting. There's a ghost out there that is a reproduction in the plum opal. And as I learn more, I'll let you know. I think the dinosaur, no, I'm not so sure about the dinosaur. I'm not going to say that, but I know the ghost is being reproduced in plum. colors that are difficult to produce are Burmese, anything Burmese custard, Rosaline, of course, and Lotus Mist and Blue Burmese, Favrine. Those are all colors that had recipes that were very extensive. They weren't something that another company can just reproduce, nor does Mosser have the time to reproduce or change colors. They just don't have the time. Again, think about it. 30 employees. When Fenton was closing, they had almost 150 just to keep things moving as they closed. So it's impossible. It's an impossible job for them. Yeah, the plum opal is gorgeous. You will definitely see the difference as we go on with the community boards through the fall. We will show you reproduction pieces of plum and then the true deep Fenton colors of plum that were only made a few years. And I don't remember the years, 56 to 62, something like that. Okay, Jamie said there's a Mosser piece that was painted by Michelle Kibbe. Michelle's going to be with us, by the way, at Lafayette, and she said there was no logo. Okay, so there was no Fenton logo on a piece that was being painted that was a prior Mosser mold. So that's good. I mean, still, there's a lot of new collectors that don't know about Fenton logos. Some pieces don't even have logos prior to 1970. You love the mix with other colors? Yeah. It's just nice that we have another glass company. There's not a lot of glass companies left out there, and Mosser is like one of the lone companies left. And that puts a lot of weight on their shoulders. And I don't, the main whole part of this discussion is if you're buying a Mosser piece, you want to be aware that it's Mosser. If you're looking for Fenton, you want to be sure that it's Fenton glass. Fenton glass. And there's no Fenton glass anymore. It's gone. It's been gone for years. Are you selling on eBay? I have a hard time selling melt glass. Nope. I sell right here on the Facebook pages and on YouTube. And we actually have some Fenton artists that are painting it now. So we have a demand for it. I had no idea that Fenton had done logos until I joined the group. Right. And there's a phenomenon out there right now, and I'm so excited about it. Because as an auctioneer, and this just doesn't pertain to Fenton, it pertained to collecting, period. I would look out into my audience as I was selling, and we used to say, there's nobody but gray-haired people out there. There is nobody sitting out there bidding on anything that doesn't have gray hair. There was no younger people. Things are changing, and our Fenton site right now is growing at a rate of 100 members a day. And our age demographics has gone from 65 and up to 45 and up, which is phenomenal. It's wonderful news that things have changed and our collections are getting more valuable, but we want to keep them that way. We want to protect the integrity. And it seems like the groups out there, there's a lot of people involved in the national groups. They are reselling the reproductions. So there is a conflict of interest. And sometimes, this is my commentary, it seems like they are more interested in the future of Mosser than the integrity of the Fenton glass. And that's just my commentary. Yeah. Oh, look at Andrew. He's 29. Yes. And so along with this new group of collectors, which we just welcome you with open arms, Andrew, we have to be the ones responsible for not so much teaching you, but spreading out that joy of glass and getting you excited about glass. And we don't want you to jump into something that you don't know. And if I can leave you with one thing tonight, just one thing, it's because the things that are going really high right now seem to be painted pieces. Make sure you ask before you buy, is it fired in a kiln? And if that's the one thing that you do tonight and take with you, we will continue to talk about the colors and the logos and everything as we go on through our Saturdays through the fall. All right. Any other question? I will try to, Polly, I will try to get pictures of the Mosser logos And I'll try to get some more information on the Mosser Company. I know they're a family-owned company. They've been around forever. And their big deal was cake plates and cookware and butter dishes and things like that. And they were more of a, what's the word, utilitarian type glass. They used it for everyday use. And I'm not sure, somebody might be able to tell me, because Cambridge Glass was also in Cambridge. And I don't know if those two companies merged or not. I really don't know. Do you know the what country John and Frank Fenton are ancestors in? I do not know right off to be able to tell you that. I can't remember. But did you know that Frank Fenton was an athlete and he was 6'7"? 6'7". And he actually was a member of the Marietta College row team. Can you imagine having him in one of those boats racing down the Ohio River for Marietta College? Valerie says, I sell internationally on eBay and a lot of Fenton glass goes overseas for me. Yes, there is a phenomenon right now with China buying a lot of glass. Don't know exactly what's going on. It's been happening over the last year. I'm concerned about that, but I'm more concerned about what the reproductions that are happening right here. Truthfully, it's just like, okay, I know somebody, one of the administrators of our group has spent a lifetime collecting boxels. And boxels are powder jars and perfume jars combined. And Russell might be able to tell you that the boxel, very hard to find, and they're beautiful. And he spent a whole lifetime collecting boxels, and now they're being reproduced. And what are they being reproduced in? The jade green. I'll try to remember to bring a picture next week. And they're trying to sell them for $150, which they're rivaling the price of the old pieces. So you can't even tell by the asking price if they're old or new. And then, this new boxel comes out, and all of a sudden you think, my collection I've been trying to build for 20 years is just going to go to pot because somebody's got the mold and they're going to reproduce it in every color they can imagine. I don't know what you do about it, except for be aware. LaDonna says it's an M and a shield. Yes. LaDonna, did you see it as a sticker or a stamp? You don't need, nothing should worry you unless you don't keep yourself educated and you don't have the knowledge to tell. And it's difficult. That's why we have to learn the colors. We have to learn the colors. Yep. We have got to protect our glass. Yes. The best thing you can do is tell the national groups to let us know more about these reproductions. Let us know. A stamp, great. And that's the best thing we can do is, we need to be educated on it. I don't pretend to know a lot. I just, I'm down there quite a bit and I know what's going on. And it does worry me. I've seen it happen with Coca-Cola. I've seen it happen with Remingtons. I've seen it happen in so many other things. And we're just riding a wave with Fenton right now. And I just don't want to see us invest a lot into it and then have it just go poof. All right. LaDonna is a wealth of knowledge, I'm telling you. All right. Anybody else want to join the discussion? If not, I think we are going to call it a day tonight or a night tonight. Tomorrow is the Vintage Vixens. And if you arrived late today, the big news of the day is George was coming on Monday and staying through Thursday for our Fenton convention. He is now coming Sunday. So we have George an extra day, and you're going to have lots of content coming from Marietta this year. So we are happy to bring that to you. Thank you for the upbeat chat. Look forward to you in the future. Harry, now listen, Harry, did you subscribe to the channel? Because I don't think you did, and I'd really like to have you subscribe. And if you're like Harry out there and you're watching for the first time, click the subscribe button and be sure and click notifications, because when we're down there in the midst of all this stuff, we're going to do a lot of impromptu content that's going to come on at the spur of the moment, and you don't want to miss a thing. All right. Valerie said she sold 3 pieces of George. at the Portland Vintage Show that will be at his convention. Yay! Oh, Valerie, what kind of glass did you send him? What colors? I'm curious. Or do you want to keep it a secret? I will tell you, we have a delightful story from a member up in Minnesota who bought a phenomenal piece of jade from the early 1920s that is Fenton for $10 at an antique mall, going up to see her father at his up north cabin in Minnesota. She is shipping that piece to me, and we are going to take it down to Marietta, and we're going to sell it with George, and hopefully the gal will be with us live to sell it via StreamYard. So that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Yes. Those are the kind of stories we love. You know, you go into an antique store and you buy something just because you like the color, and you get it and you're like, holy smokes. So, okay, I'm going to let you guys go. Tomorrow is the Vintage Vixens at 7:00. If you have any questions about Marietta, please let me know, PM me or comment below. Make sure you give me a thumbs up as you leave the room today. And we are so looking forward to it. We're going to have a blast. Let's see what Valerie gave George to sell for us. An orange swung vase. Yes, good choice. A purple bowl and a light blue vase. So George will be bringing some swung vases. Sounds good. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Join us tomorrow at 7 for the Vintage Vixens show. It's going to be a general vintage show. It'll be on all the channels tomorrow, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for being here today. Good night, everybody.